Oh my goodness, guys! When I mean this has been the show from I don't know where. I just spent the last 30 seconds talking about my good friend Dr. Chris Meletis. He's a former dean, chief medical officer. We're going to talk about dying in America, the danger of food additives. Dr. Chris, how you doing?
I am doing great. How about yourself?
I'm doing fine. You know, it's been a crazy show, but there's been a lot of dead air. There's a lot of stuff I have to edit before we syndicate the show out. But hey, it's been an interesting day. But I'm so happy to have you on the show tonight. It's thank you for just taking a few minutes out with us to share with us. I hope you're doing well, and we're going to get right into it. I mean, folks nowadays, we were talking about the Apple Watch and, the fitness part of it and how it's going to track, your steps and whether or not you're moving and your overall activity. But there's some things that we can do personally ourselves to make sure we're eating right and we're not, I really don't ever, Dr. Chris, ever like to use the word diet, but I'm going to ask you this. What's your take on MSG and other additives?
Great question. And, I use the term diet with my patients in a qualified form, by the way, because this diet concept is, hey, we're all on a diet. Whatever we're eating is our diet. And so the question is that diet helping us or is that diet hindering us? And so, food is our diet. And so what's interesting is foods like MSG, yellow dye number 5, things that didn't exist back when our grandparents were around and great-grandparents were around, that these are all new. And as a result, we're all virtual guinea pigs or literally guinea pigs. So, what does yellow dye number 5 do? Well, that actually antagonizes, which means inhibits some of the benefits of vitamin B6. And MSG, there's actually a very famous medical doctor. His name is Dr. Russell Blaylock, and he wrote a book called The Taste That Kills, because what it does is MSG and other sources of glutamate, like when you see the word yeast extract, and all of a sudden, what does MSG do in monosodium glutamate? It's actually causing our brain cells, which we have 100 billion brain cells, to actually flicker, and then explode to death, literally, just like a light bulb right before it flickers, and then all of a sudden the end of the light bulb is gone, and then it gets really bright, and then boom, no more light bulb. Well, actually, that's what glutamate and MSG do to our brain, and it's like, darn, why do they put this stuff in our food?
Good question. I have to ask you, my next question is, what do you use in your practice to bind up excess saturated fat in your patient's diet?
Great question. Well, one of the challenges in today's world, especially the westernized world, and I do work across the world in terms of I work with the Asian marketplace as well, but in the westernized marketplace, we actually have way too much saturated fat. We're an overfed, undernourished society, and there's fat all over the place. And fat itself is not bad, except for the problem is fat is the highest source of calories. So if you have 1 gram of carbohydrate, you get 4 calories. If you have 1 gram of protein, you get 4 calories. If you have 1 gram of fat, you get 9 calories. So I actually use a product called Calories. It's actually a special cyclodextrin, a sugar molecule, and it actually binds up 162 calories per meal, westernized high-fat diet. And so by the end of the day, 486 calories are passed through the GI tract, unabsorbed, of saturated fat. And it's like, wow, this can actually help a person because we're all on diets, but sometimes we get caught up in the fast-pacedness, or we're adding a little too much salad dressing to our mix, or maybe that special little spread sauce on our favorite sandwich, which has mayonnaise in it, has too much saturated fat. So I like to give the example of a grilled cheese sandwich. Clearly, cheese has saturated fat in it. And can you imagine making a grilled cheese sandwich instead of a 300 and something calorie sandwich by binding up 162 calories with 2 calories pills? You can actually make it a lot lower calorie sandwich. All of a sudden, it's like, okay, I start losing weight. I start working on things. Plus, it's been shown to help with cholesterol levels, help with triglyceride levels, help with blood sugar levels. So it's a great little fiber, and so my patients use it for all kinds of reasons.
So, Dr. Chris, I got to ask you, what are some steps to living a healthy lifestyle?
Well, first and foremost, I use the 10-minute rule, and the 10-minute rule is one of the things I have in one of my 12 books I've written, and it's if you're not walking 10 minutes to and fro someplace, you're not walking enough. That's a minimum per day. They say that if we sit down for more than an hour, we increase our chance for blood clots. So you're literally supposed to get up from your desk, walk around for a moment or two, and get up, just like you're supposed to, exercise your eyes by looking at a distance and not just at your screen. So I tell a person, go to your front door, remembering your keys, lock your front door, walk 10 minutes, any direction on a good day in a safe neighborhood. Then you walk 10 minutes back. You got a 20 minutes of exercise. And if you can't make that kind of time or wear a little pedometer that measures your footsteps, or like we were talking about with the new smart watches, the iWatch and so forth, track how many calories, track how many steps. I can tell you when I'm tracking my steps, I intentionally walk a little further because I make it a game. So, they say a body in motion stays in motion, a body at rest stays at rest. So it's time to break into the movement pattern. And the other thing is I have the 3-2-1+1 diet. I tell all my patients, if you can just use this rule throughout the day, if you look at all the food you've eaten by the end of the day, and if mom was right, by the way, you need to eat your vegetables. So imagine 3 veggies, 2 fruits, a grain, and a large portion of lean protein. The 3-2-1+1 diet is a traditional diet that many cultures eat. They eat a lot of veggies, then they get their fruit off a tree. Now, they don't eat very much bread or processed things like pasta because all of a sudden you have to get the horse out, plow the field, raise it, water it, nurture it, harvest it, grind it, knead it, bake it. I'm like, okay, I don't think I'm in the mood for bread anymore. And likewise with sugar. If you had to go to Hawaii, cut down a sugar cane plant, mill it up, dry it out, and then all of a sudden get granulated sugar, it's like, yeah, I think I'll skip that sugar in my cup of coffee. That's way too much work. So just kind of using common sense, the 3-2-1+1 diet. And the statistic is, real quick, in 2007, they actually reported that only 11% of Americans eat their 5 to 7 servings of fruits and veggies. 89% are epically failing.
Gotcha. So I have to ask you, so how can you achieve optimal wellness?
I think it's all about keeping it simple. There's that golden rule that's called the 80-20 rule. It's used in business a lot. You can get 80% of the job done with about 20% effort. And so don't sweat the small things and follow the rule of moderation, and moderate your exercise, moderate your diet, moderate what you're drinking, and moderate how much stress you allow into your life. We're dying of being excessively stressed. All this modern technology we have with texting and the internet and emails and now smartphones, we're wired for sound, but we were designed for little house in the prairie days, simpler times, and the human body is not designed to run from here and there.
Gotcha. So, Doc, which natural medicines are best to use for weight management, stress, et cetera?
Yeah. Well, I like to always stay in the scientific side of things. I go around the country lecturing to medical doctors. So I like to see where the science is. So I mentioned that product called Calories, which actually binds up the fat, the saturated fat. So that's one. And I love a product called white kidney bean extract that was also on Dr. Oz. And it actually helps bind up the carbohydrates. So imagine if you could control your saturated fats, which are really rich in calories. You can address with white kidney bean extract, you can actually address some of the carbohydrate issues. And then the other one I love, because we are a stressed out nation, we're overfed, undernourished, and now we're stressed out on top of it, is I use a product which contains Relora, R-E-L-O-R-A, and it's actually called cortisol management, the one we use in our practice. And that what it has been shown is actually in the medical literature to actually help with stress, anxiety, irritability, anger, all those things that make a stressful situation that much worse for us and the people around us.
Dr. Chris, I've got to say, I looked at your portfolio and, from the various accolades that you have and the fact that you've founded over 16 clinics that provide care for uninsured families, serving as its various chairmen, an author of various books, author of over 200 nationally published health and wellness articles. Like, what's next on your docket? What's in your bucket list?
Well, my bucket list is doing exactly what you're doing, sharing the word. It's all about us trying to make the world a better place. And when I go around the country and have 300 or 1,000 doctors in front of me, I am honored and blessed. And I'm honored and blessed for one reason. In that room, within one day of them seeing patients, they could see more patients than I individually could have seen in a lifetime. It's all about sharing that knowledge, passing it forward, and making the next generation that much better, that much healthier, and that much smarter.
Dr. Chris, I've got to thank you so much for just taking a few minutes out with us. We know how busy you are, but we really appreciate all you've done. What's the best way? So tell us this. What's the best way to contact you via social media?
Well, of course, on my website, Dr. Meletis, DrMeletis.com, drmeletis.com. You'll be able to follow my tweets on my Twitter account, and you'll also be able to follow my health advice on my professional Facebook account. So, yeah, Dr. Meletis, DrMeletis.com. You throw it into Google, you'll find me easily, and you'll be able to watch my videos, read my articles, and share the word and share the passion. It's all about making it just a little bit better every day for everyone else.
Dr. Chris, I want to give you a one-time. And thank you so much. And we hopefully will have you back on the show again, that you have some time and, you have a few minutes sometime in the upcoming months that you can join us again and give us your words of wisdom. Thank you so much.
Hey, well, thank you, and keep up the good work. I appreciate it.
All right, thank you. So, Dr. Chris was here, another friend to the room. We're really appreciative for him spending the time with us tonight and giving us his best practices on, dying in America, the dangers of food additives, the explosion of new dangerous food additives, coupled with an easing and oversight requirements, or allowing these manufacturers to avoid the scrutiny of the FDA.